Heretoir have finally released Solastalgia, and it's my album of 2025. It's one I've been waiting for quite a long time, really. See, I discovered the band in September 2023. This is when I was first discovering the experimental and post-side of metal. Instantly, I was drawn to Heretoir's sound, one that mixes post-metal with more traditional atmospheric black metal. They offered more of a melodic twist, more of a technical, polished twist on the genre. When I heard the news of a new album and heard about Solastalgia, I was really excited. But I was also a bit anxious, thinking that maybe my expectations were a bit too high, or were going to be a bit too high, and I would be disappointed. I definitely wasn't disappointed, and I'm really excited to tell you about why Solastalgia is my favourite album of 2025. For me, it's the production that stands out most on Solastalgia. It's the most complex end product to date. They've definitely spent more time in the studio, they've definitely done the homework, and it really shows. It's complex, there's multiple layers in there, and it's very textured. At the same time, it's easy for it to get maybe overly polished and to lose some of those atmospheric qualities that really make Heretoir sound. It's a fine line, but they've definitely got the balance right. The extra time in the studio has resulted in some absolutely superb guitar work. I mean, some of those guitar tones are absolutely stunning. They've got a beautiful shoegazy edge, a bit like Alcest or Death Heaven, and it's just intoxicating. It's addictive. It makes me want to learn how to play guitar. Emotion. The album's all about emotion. After all, it's a pretty emotionally charged topic, especially talking about the grief that one experiences when seeing the world before them deteriorate and wither away. In other words, Solastalgia. Vocalist David Elkatantz definitely leads the charge here when it comes to that emotional output. See, whether it's his cleans or just his spectacular roars, there's definitely a visceral edge there, just dripping in raw human sentiments, and it's one of the signatures for Heretoir. You'd probably find yourself shouting out Solastalgia at random intervals, especially when you listen to the album's title track. They've got lots of earworms like that, lots of vocal lines and hooks, which is what you need really for an 11-track album. The pacing of the album's quite interesting too. See, they're a post-metal band, so as a result, they've got longer, more progressive songs, those with songs hovering around the 10-minute mark, ones that have multiple movements and non-conventional song structures. This can lead to burnout for the audience and for the listener, unfortunately. That's why they've got a few breather songs, the likes of Rain, which is essentially a 3-minute piano piece. It's a good chance to give a bit of audio respite, a bit of rest for your senses, all before it kicks off again. I realise now I may have scared a few people, especially at the mention of 10-minute progressive metal songs. It's not for everybody, not everybody's got the attention span, and that's fine. Instead, I'd urge you to check out Inertia, which is roughly 4 minutes long. It's a short, sharp burst really, an emotional blast, and it shows what Heretoir are all about in the time it takes to make a coffee. I feel like it's one of Heretoir's heavier albums, especially when they're bringing in the metalcore elements, especially with those really tight chugging rhythmic sections. Now check out The Ashen Falls for an example of this. So Solastalgia is nearly 11 original tracks from the band. I say nearly 11 because there's one cover at the end. I recognised it instantly when I first listened to it. It's a cover of Metaphor by In Flames. And I'm okay with bands covering songs from time to time. I just don't really understand the relevance of Metaphor on this album. I'm not sure if Heretoir have addressed that in a previous interview or any kind of publication, but it just seems a little bit out of place for me really, and it's the only thing stopping the album from being a perfect 10 in my eyes. Make no mistake though, I am absolutely enamoured with Solastalgia, and although Night Sphere was a good album, it wasn't quite their breakthrough, and I'm hoping that Solastalgia can reach that level. I'm hoping it's the album that people will finally stop and pay attention to what a fantastic band they are. It could well be that breakthrough album, the one where they finally get the recognition and the respect they deserve as an artist.